Good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Backlash. I'm your host, David J. Riley. Thank you so much for joining me today. Monday. No, it's not Monday. What the? Dude, what am I talking about? Wednesday, March 18th, 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific. Thank you so much for joining. Before we get too far, got to tell you, it's obligatory. You have to smash the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're following us on X at our X account, Twitter account, whatever, man. I'm still having a hard time not calling it Twitter. It's Real Backlash on X. You can find all of our content on thebacklash.net. You can support the show at subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. You can send a super chat on YouTube, on Rumble. It's called Rumble Rants. Please tell me what you're seeing. Tell me what you're thinking. Powerchat.live and Entropy are also up. All of our platforms are available on thebacklash.net/subscribe. And of course, our Rumble account, Backlash Podcast, and the YouTube at Real Backlash. Thank you so much for joining me today. Man, it's been absolutely crazy, hasn't it? Just one after another. News stories coming out. Joe Kent resigning from the head of counterterrorism. Oil is back over $100 a barrel. Man, I was driving around earlier doing show prep, a little bit of show prep. And gas up here in North Idaho is about to break $4 a gallon. So that's going to happen imminently. Thank a Zionist. Thank a Zionist today when you hit the gas pump and wind up paying like, what, $1.25 more than it was a month ago. You can thank a Zionist for that. But so that's going on. The war is going on. We got some updates for you. The markets are crazy. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, it's all going nuts. We're going to go over some of that stuff. The housing crisis as well. Mortgage rates have hit the highest level that they've been at in a long time. So we'll be talking about all of that. And we will be talking about the war at home, because this war that we're in is not just being fought in Iran or in the Middle East, but it's at home. It's been at home. And it is going to affect each and every one of us. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight, what you can do, things that can be done, how you can stand up and fight back, to borrow a phrase from our leftist friends, stand up, fight back. But anyway, got to give a big shout out to the show sponsors before we dive into all of this. First up, of course, ODGG Supply. And man, if there's ever been a time to get prepped, it is right now. It is, if you are not like, do you remember COVID? Do you remember COVID? Do you remember, like, I remember I went with my wife. We had just gotten married, and it's like things are going to get crazy here. And so we went to Costco. I remember we were living in Indiana at the time. We went out to Costco. We bought one of those wire racks. We put it in like our bathtub in our apartment. We had two bathrooms at the time. And so we literally filled the entire bathtub and the rack above with like toilet paper and canned food, all of it, everything that we would need, just because, we thought we were getting locked down and all this stuff. So anyway, we went out, we bought a bunch of stuff. I am feeling similar vibes, is all I'm saying. Talking about ODGGsupply.com, I'm feeling a similar vibe with the war in Iran happening. Are we going to be seeing ammunition shortages? Are we going to be seeing, and we'll talk about this, a lot of inflation. But anyway, the point being, if there was ever a time to get prepared, it is now, when no one else is doing it. So fill up the gas cans, go to odggsupply.com. As a matter of fact, I think they sell gas cans. Do they sell jerry cans? No, they don't. Okay. That was a different website that I was looking at anyway. So odggsupply.com. As you're getting prepped, imagine what it would be like if you go to the store and they don't have any coffee. Well, you can stock up on coffee at abovetimecoffee.com. They are pro-white, small batch, hand-roasted, the best coffee that money can buy. Get it at abovetimecoffee.com. Promo code Backlash10 gets you 10% off. And similarly at Antelope Hill Publishing. Backlash 10 will get you 10% off here. I'm in the middle of reading The Essay Cleans Up. Great book so far. Looking forward to talking about it some more. But visit antelopehillpublishing.com, a proud sponsor of the Backlash, and Idaho Tallow Company. They just they rebranded. Look at this. They got a new logo, and look at the product. Their products look beautiful. Beautiful. So please shop at idahotallow.com. You get free shipping on orders over 100. And of course, if you are concerned about the economy, if you're concerned about your money, think about stacking some gold and silver at Atlas Bullion. I see gold and silver are taking a little dip today. We're going to talk about that some more a little bit later. But atlasbullion.com/backlash if you want to start stacking something valuable that cannot be debased by the government. So I'm going to come clean. I got a confession to make. I didn't actually do that much show prep. I've just been bookmarking things over the past few days. So we're basically just going to go through some of my bookmarks. We're going to see what's been going on. But first up, obviously, is the war in Iran. This is a huge deal. We've been predicting it on this show basically since the beginning. I've said this before. I remember listening to my dad on the radio back in 2006, playing the song "Bomb, Bomb, 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 Iran, Bomb, 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 Iran," like the Beach Boys cover. And here we are, 20 years later. 20 years later, and it's finally happened. So, where do we stand? There's been a lot of crazy stuff coming out this week. I've been seeing people on X, and you've got to be careful. Be careful on the internet these days. I mean, the war is happening online just as much as it is happening on the ground. I've been seeing a bunch of reports that Bibi Netanyahu is dead. Sorry, I don't think so. There's a bunch of, but it is kind of crazy, right? Have you been seeing the tweets? Let me pull this up while I'm thinking about it. But there were like all of these tweets about Bibi Netanyahu. He's got 6 fingers. Yahoo dead. Can I spell today? So there are these videos that are coming out, of Bibi Netanyahu meeting with like Ambassador Huckabee. They think that their faces are changing, that he doesn't have the right number of fingers. I guess people can't count, right?
למה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי. אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות? אתה יכול להראות לנו?
Can you see how many fingers I have? Okay. So there have also been these deep fakes that have been coming out showing the new supreme leader of Iran superimposed over Bibi Netanyahu, and it looks great. The AI is getting very good. So essentially, when evaluating all of the stuff that we're seeing happening in the war, you need to be on guard. You don't want to get drawn and sucked into some weird rabbit hole of thinking Bibi Netanyahu is dead. He's not. I don't think he is anyway. So anyway, it's very easy for them to fake this kind of, hey, listen, maybe he is. Maybe he died and they're deep faking everything and it'll come out in 6 months that he was blown up. I highly doubt it. But you got to be careful. You've got to be very careful with all of this stuff. What did happen is the assassination of Iran's chief negotiator. We blew him up. We blew him up 2 days after he put out a tweet talking about how the United States is not going to be engaging in any kind of terror attacks across the globe. I've got a screenshot here. I'll read for you. This was from Ali bro. Okay, I don't speak Farsi. I don't know what this stuff is. Ali Larijani. He was the chief negotiator for Iran. He tweeted this on March 15th. It has been reported that what remains of Epstein's network is working to prepare a conspiracy aimed at fabricating an incident similar to the September 11th attacks in preparation for accusing Iran of being behind it. The Islamic Republic of Iran categorically rejects such plots and terrorist operations on principle and does not wage war against the American people. And after tweeting that, he got bombed. He got blown up. So we no longer have anyone to negotiate with in Iran. And do you think that who replaces this person, do you think they're going to be more moderate, more willing to engage in negotiations with the United States? Or do you think they're going to, I don't know, put a hardliner in there because we're bombing them? We're bombing their country. We're bombing their schoolgirls, 165 schoolgirls that we bombed a few days ago in one of the opening salvos of this war. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. And there is an update here from a friend that I'm going to read to you because I read it and it seemed to confirm some things that I have been hearing from my sources. And I do have sources. So this comes from Died Suddenly. You remember these guys were huge in exposing what was going on with COVID. Big shout out to the crew at Died Suddenly, whom you know, but we'll leave it there. The investigators at Died Suddenly have received a very concerning piece of intel that we wanted to share with our followers regarding the war in Iran. Over the course of the last 4 years, the same source has given us intel that we have shared and that has never once been wrong. Please feel free to pray about this and use discernment on what we're about to share. America has only 1 week of missiles left to defend allies in the Middle East, Israel. Nukes, invasion, and war with Russia are all on the table. Joe Kent resigned for one simple reason. He knows that the Iran war is going poorly. It was started purely by Israel lying and manipulating Trump, and he refuses to lie about those facts publicly. I have spoken with several national security sources, and this is the summary of what they have told me. 1, America is 1 week from exhausting our supply of interceptor missiles, without which we have no effective means of stopping incoming missiles and drones to Israel, Jordan, Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Iran knows this and has intentionally kept back their biggest, most advanced, and deadly cruise missiles. Attempts by the United States to destroy those missiles and sites have failed, and a good portion remain operational and ready to launch. If America cannot protect our allies in the region, they will sue for peace without us. And without protection, Israel will suffer massive casualties. The stockpile is dangerously low from the Trump administration using missiles to defend Israel since the October 7th attacks and the war in Ukraine. Point 2. The current supreme leader of Iran, Mojtaba Khamenei, I'm going to have to get used to saying that, survived the decapitation strike and the follow-on attempts and has now successfully fled to Russia, where the United States is weighing committing another act of war with Putin by trying to kill him in Moscow. AI videos or not, Iran will never surrender if they find out that they successfully killed or gravely injured the great Satan's puppet master. 3, America has no good options to end this war, which needed to be finished quickly due to tyranny of variables stacked against the United States, such as terrain, distance, lack of ground forces, and durability of the Iranian government. Options are now being considered are nuclear and futuristic weapons like the ones which were deployed in Venezuela that struck fear into the minds of all of our adversaries, the same adversaries now watching in shock and laughter as America falters on this half-cocked expedition against one of the strongest nations in the Middle East. China is weighing an invasion of Taiwan by July of this year because of the very real distraction and depletion of the United States military stockpiles, troops, and resources for the Iran conflict. 5, sorry, this is a little long, but I figured I'd read it into the record here. U.S. casualties have easily reached 500. Now, just a point on this, because I was getting some, people DMing me and whatnot. A casualty of war does not mean a fatality. It doesn't mean a death. It doesn't mean someone was killed in action. A casualty is somebody getting hit by shrapnel. It is somebody that is injured. They got, burned by a fire. They twisted their ankle while they were running away from a bomb. Whatever the case may be, if it resulted in any kind of hospitalization, it's a casualty. So when they say 500 casualties, that does not mean 500 dead. But it does mean that we are getting hurt. Now, there are some other numbers that are being disclosed. I'll pull up the tweet in a little bit here. I don't see those numbers. It was the Iranian regime. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, here it is. From the Iranian government, Press TV, which I've been on before, by the way. Thank you for having me on Press TV. But they said that the U.S. has suffered 3,200 casualties and staggering equipment losses in the first week of the war. Don't know if it's that high, okay? But it's certainly higher than whatever it is that they're telling us on the media. A lot more of our soldiers have been hurt because of this war than they're letting on. So anyway, continuing. Casualties have reached 500, with many injured and dead that have not yet been admitted by the Pentagon. America has lost 4 fixed-wing aircraft, more than we've lost in 20 years of war combined. The aircraft were not shot down accidentally, as previously thought. They were downed by sympathizers in the Kuwaiti Air Force. The pilot indeed went rogue, and other fractures in the shaky Middle East alliance are plausible as this war drags on. Russia and China have been capturing data from the combat operations and are providing satellite and intelligence support to Iran, as well as part of this have cracked the signal communication for America's B-2 bombers, meaning one of our primary deployment means for nuclear weapons, previously stealth and untraceable in radar, can now be tracked in flight and shot down, a major blow to nuclear deterrence and mad threat against other superpowers. This war may have effectively evened the playing field for China. America's only options are bad. And Kent knew that when he resigned. Best thing we can do is literally and figuratively put down the shovel and stop digging the hole deeper. Seesaw combat operations before this escalates into a new world war and more Americans and allies are killed. Well, that's not going to happen. It's very clear where the administration is going with this. They're not backing out. They had a chance. They had a brief moment a couple of days ago where Donald Trump could have come out and declared victory. He could have been like, hey, we won. We're good. We blew the shit out of them. We sunk their Navy. We've hit, 5,000 targets inside of Iran. That's it. Good war. We're packing up. We're going to go home now. He had that opportunity. He's not taking it. Why? Well, because he's surrounded by Israeli shills. He's surrounded by people like Laura Loomer and Mark Levin, who are gassing him up. They're feeding him propaganda and intelligence from the Israeli Mossad or whatever. Man, it's just not good. It's not good. And so with that, we've got to take a look at what is going on with oil, because this is the big deal. I don't think that's right. 98? No. What are you talking about? 98.45. Yeah, it may be. Over on Drudge, it's 110 a barrel. So hold on, let me pull this up. Yeah, there we go. Oil prices barrel towards 110. Why the strike matters. So yeah, for those of you who aren't really aware, earlier, is it yesterday, maybe today, Israel and the United States bombed a giant gas field that was controlled by Qatar. It's in the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, not smart. Not smart. I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, Qatar is, or Qatar, whatever the fuck. Dude, that's supposed to be like an American ally. And now we're bombing their infrastructure. And, by the way, the Straits of Hormuz are still closed, and they will remain closed. We are unable to reopen the Straits of Hormuz. And our European partners, NATO, Germany, France, England, are all refusing to send any troops. No deployments, no aircraft carrier, nothing. They're not sending anything over there to help with reopening the Straits of Hormuz. So with that, with oil being where it is, I mean, look, this chart is crazy. It's just gone parabolic. If oil remains above $100 a barrel, things are going to get extremely bad, not just for our country, but for the world. I mean, global recession style shit. I'm not trying to freak anybody out. I'm not trying to be whatever. But basically, if the oil levels stay where they're at for about another week, we're going to start seeing margin calls come in. We're going to start seeing failures in the supply chains. We're going to start seeing an increase in prices. And Jerome Powell earlier today had something to say about this. Let's take a look at what Jay Powell said.
But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy.
It's too soon to know. Too soon to know. Well, let's walk through this. If oil prices stay over $100 a barrel, that is going to affect our shipping industry. It's going to affect truckers. It's going to affect the movement of goods throughout the country. The inflated oil price will get passed on to consumers at the store, wherever you go, Walmart or whatever, where you shop, and inflation is going to go nuts. Now, how does the government combat inflation? It combats it by raising interest rates at the Federal Reserve. But where we are right now, you see, we've got like $9 trillion of debt that needs to be rolled over this year, right? And if we raise interest rates to combat the inflation, then that means that the debt that we have is going to be billions of dollars more expensive because of the higher interest rates. We need to refinance the debt at a lower interest rate. And so you've got these two forces battling against each other. You've got inflation on the one side, and then you've got the risk of default on the other. So if we don't get this taken care of, like now, pronto, I mean, like the only thing that can save this country from going into like a massive recession, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, but it would be like the price of oil crashing from $100 a barrel to like $60 a barrel and then staying there, sustained. And while all of this is going on, we're preparing to put boots on the ground. I was getting images sent to me from some friends of mine in Kansas that live down near some of the Army bases in Kansas. And it is day after day after day of trains as far as the eye can see. Let me see if I can actually, I'll without doxing my buddy, I'll see if I can pull it up. It is trains. Can I? Oh, yeah, I can. Okay. Here we go. I don't want to boop. Hold on. Let me move this over a little bit. You going to let me move you a little bit? There we go. Okay. So like if you see here, there's a train with, there's an APC, water, tankers, tanks. Here's another one with APCs, Humvees, tanks. There's another tank, more tanks, fuel, flammable. Then you've got these shipping containers that carry all kinds of, anyway. So, oops. So, we're going to war. We're going to put boots on the ground. We're going to put boots on the ground. This is not going to be over by next week. And if oil stays where it's at, man, not good. Not good at all. Somebody in the chat just said that they paid $4.40 a gallon in Oregon. Wow. That's crazy, man. And I think it's going to go higher. If you got some jerry cans, might be a good idea. And that's what I was saying earlier about getting prepped, because it seems like if we send boots on the ground, What about ammunition? What about gunpowder? What about all of this kind of stuff? So, I would seriously consider that. Now, the other big thing that happened is, and we talked about it a little bit, Joe Kent resigned. I said on X, maybe we were too hard on Joe Kent. Maybe not actually. Maybe I was wrong in that tweet. Maybe I shouldn't have sent that tweet out. But here's the point of this. He said, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. It's a blah, blah, blah. We're not going to read the rest of it. It's good enough. That is good enough. Hold on a second. So, So Joe Kent gets fired. And this is what starts coming out. We get articles like this from Fox. Anti-war, anti-Semitism is still anti-Semitism. Okay. So is anti-Semitism and peace are linked somehow? Is being against global organized world Jewry somehow linked to world peace? Is that what you're telling me? Because that's what it seems like you're telling me. That's exactly what it seems like you're saying when you write a piece like this. Now, there's issues, obviously, with Joe Kent. Okay, Joe Kent was bankrolled by Peter Thiel for his race back in, I think it was 2022. I remember when Vincent James went out to one of his rallies and just shut his shit down. But you've got issues here, okay? Something is clearly up in the Peter Thiel sphere, in the Thiel-verse, where you've got Joe Kent, and they're on the air right now. I was watching it before we went live. Tucker Carlson on the air with Joe Kent talking about why he resigned. Tucker Carlson, of course, is very close with Peter Thiel. So you got Tucker that's close to Peter Thiel. You've got Joe Kent, who's in bed with Peter Thiel. Something's going on. Maybe the Israelis are being a little too pushy with Palantir or with Peter or something. He's trying to do some sort of pushback or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's still Peter Thiel. He's still a gay homo that wants to bring about a surveillance state and probably is the Antichrist. Let's be honest. This week, by the way, Peter Thiel in the Vatican, giving a presentation. Did you see this? He's giving a presentation on the Antichrist in Rome. Oh, come on. Where's the... See, I told you I didn't really do any prep. Here it is. This comes from Wurzelroot. So from AF Post says, Peter Thiel will deliver a series of lectures on the Antichrist blocks away from the Vatican in Rome. Thiel's thesis is that the Antichrist will seize power from a one world government and be fear-mongering over the risk of technological advancement. So Wurzelroot says, as a gay Jew, I believe the Antichrist is real, and if he is anyone, it's someone who opposes me, and it's somebody opposite of me and that would directly oppose me. Yo, what the fuck? But it's true. It's true. So I don't know who allowed Peter Thiel to go into the Vatican. Of course, we've discussed on this show before how Peter Thiel is deeply embedded with Opus Dei. Opus Dei is deeply involved with the Federalist Society, the Teneo Network, J.D. Vance, right? Heritage Foundation. Makes you think. And also, there was another story about Opus Dei. While I'm going schizo mode here, there's another story that's been coming out. A lot of people have been bashing the Pope. Maybe me a little bit too. Come on. give me some slack here. But there's this coordinated effort right now to discredit the Pope, calling for his resignation, because apparently in 1995, he participated in a Pachamama ritual. That is a ritual or a prayer, involving praying to Mother Earth or something like this. You remember Pope Francis did the same thing, and that Austrian guy, he like ran into the church and he grabbed the Pachamama idol and he threw it into the Tiber. Very based. But anyway, that incident caused a lot of consternation among traditional Catholics. And now, just days after, the Pope met with a guy named Gareth Gore. And I said, is it possible that the Opus Dei leaked this information about the Pope to foment some sort of negative sentiment against the Pope? And by the way, we are talking with Gareth Gore about bringing him on this podcast. I think it would be fascinating. He did a lot of in-depth, now he's a libtard. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we'll bring him on the show. It'll be great. He's a liberal. Like, he's like pro-abortion. He's like pro-gay marriage. He's not like us, okay? But he very rightly did a lot of digging into what Opus Dei was doing. Slavery, allegations of slavery, working people a little too hard, involved with the banking sector in Spain, human trafficking, a lot of sketchy stuff. Oh, and if you've been watching this show for a while, you'll know that the Opus Dei started receiving money from the CIA in 1971. So anyway, sorry about that rant. Kind of went off the rails there. We were talking about Joe Kent. Joe Kent's resignation. But there's clearly something going on in the Thiel-verse, and we'll have to see how that plays out. There's also a lot of really goofy stuff going on just in the media generally when it comes to this war in Iran. One of them being all of the polling that surrounds the American people's approval or disapproval over this war. Now, this comes from CNN. Was it today? Today. This was on CNN today, okay? I'll play it, then we'll come back.
Yeah, sometimes you look at the polling data and there are numbers that just jump off the screen at you, and this is one of those. Because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
Bro, who are they polling? Are they going to like nursing homes and like finding all the people with MAGA hats and then asking them if they like the war with Iran? Is that what's going on? Are they like exclusively polling people age 75 and older, 65 and older? I mean, it's just unbelievable. The only people that I know that are for this war are Zionists. The only people that I know that are for this war are Zionists. Period. End of sentence. Trump literally ran on not fucking going to war, on not going to war with Iran in 2016. Do you remember that? Do you remember people like Tulsi Gabbard? Do you remember people like Tulsi Gabbard, who Trump brought on the administration? She was saying, oh, we're not going to go to war with Iran, no war with Iran. I've got a clip that I'm going to play for you. And it's just incredible to see the switcheroo that has happened. Let's take a look at this. Now, and I guess to preface this a little bit, Tulsi Gabbard was Joe Kent's superior in Washington, D.C. Tulsi Gabbard was was Joe Kent's superior, and she released a statement after Joe Kent resigned. And this is crazy, dude. She says, Donald Trump was overwhelmingly elected by the American people to be our president and commander-in-chief. As our commander-in-chief, he is responsible for determining what is and is not an immediate threat and whether or not to take action, blah, blah, blah. So she's cheerleading for the war. She's cheerleading for the war. But if you have any brain cells left, if you haven't been completely mind-raped by shorts and TikTok and the infinite scrolling, this is what Tulsi Gabbard was saying just 6 years ago.
Here are the steps that Donald Trump has taken to create a war with Iran. First, he tore up the Iran nuclear agreement.
I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Second, he has escalated crippling sanctions against Iran.
The sanctions kicking in at midnight Sunday target Iran's oil exports, banking, and shipping, even though UN inspectors say Iran is still complying with the nuclear deal.
The United States will pursue additional sanctions tougher than ever before.
Third, he designated Iran's military as a terrorist organization.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has announced that the U.S. is designating the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terror group.
Today, the United States is continuing to build its maximum pressure campaign against the Iranian regime. I'm announcing our intent to designate the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, including its Quds Force, as a foreign terrorist organization.
With this terror designation.
By the way, have you noticed like the Ozempic glow up on Mike Pompeo? Did you see how like fat and disgusting looking he was just a couple of years ago? And now let me see if I can find a picture of Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo. Oh, come on. Give me a recent. Oh, yeah, there it is. There we go. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on. I've got it on my laptop. Look at the difference. Dude, the Ozempic glow up. Look at that. That's wonderful. Good for you, Mike. Really happy to see that you're taking off some weight and, you're starting to care about, like, even on like one page, if you just like look at the page and you see the two of them. Oh. Oy vey. Oy gevalt. Anyway, let's watch a little bit more of this video from Tulsi Gabbard back in 2020.
Revolutionary Guard Corps, including its Quds Force, as a foreign terrorist organization.
With this terror designation, the U.S. can sanction pretty much anybody who talks to or deals with or has any business whatsoever with the IRGC.
And fourth, he continues to deploy more and more U.S. troops to the region.
Just moments ago, the Pentagon authorized an additional 1,000 American troops to the Middle East in response to growing concerns over Iran.
The Trump administration announced yesterday that a U.S. aircraft carrier and a bomber task force are being sent to areas closer to Iran.
Yes, there will indeed be hell to pay. Let my message today be very clear. We are watching, and we will come after you.
We've got to stop Donald Trump from starting a war with Iran. I'm asking you to join me and support my legislation, the No More Presidential Wars Act.
So, you get the idea. You've got to help me. You've got to help me stop the war in Iran. 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And now, of course, it's coming out. Where do I have it? See, this is the show prep. The show prep. Maybe I could hire some woman to like organize my thoughts for me. Okay. And so I said, there were signs. There might have been some signs. Okay. There might have been a couple of hints that maybe Tulsi Gabbard isn't our girl. There might have been a couple of things that have come out indicating that maybe Tulsi Gabbard isn't actually America first. Maybe she's not actually against the war in Iran. Who could have possibly seen this coming? Nobody. Certainly not. Certainly not. We have like a Chabad-occupied government, people. It's unbelievable. So anyway, Tulsi Gabbard, and of course, and she was testifying today. I think I have some of those clips up. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. She's lying. Everything that these people are saying is a lie. It is straight up all lies. that you're hearing out of Washington, D.C. One of them being this little video that Donald Trump posted yesterday morning. Look at the level of insanity here.
Today, I'm signing 2 historic executive orders continuing my administration's efforts to help more of our citizens achieve the dream of home ownership. It's called the American Dream. Thanks to our purchase of $200 billion in mortgage bonds, mortgage rates recently reached the lowest level in 5 years.
All right. Gonna stop you there, Don. Gonna stop you there because we've got an issue. Mortgage rates are not, in fact, at all-time lows. Mortgage rates are, in fact, at all-time highs. Where's the tweet? Where's the tweet? Come on, you. This one's old. Oh, come on. I saved this in my bookmarks. Ah, yes. Here it is. And this came out today. So the video we just played yesterday was from yesterday. Donald Trump getting on TV saying, hey, we've got mortgage rates. They're the lowest that they've been in 5 years. Okay, here's the mortgage rates. They are not, in fact, the lowest that they've been in 5 years. They're at, what does that say, 6%? What does that say, 6.8%? So they're just lying. They're just lying. You cannot trust anything that is coming out of the administration. And furthermore, everything that he's doing, that Trump is doing, if it's good at all, there are executive orders, and they'll all get turned over immediately in 2028 when a Democrat wins. So, we're not getting anything passed by Congress. It's not good. Not good. There was another thing going on with this war in Iran that's crazy that I'm hoping you've seen, which is that the USS Gerald R. Ford, which has been at sea for 241 days, the deployment has been extended twice now. They started heading the ship back towards the Middle East, and all of a sudden, a giant fire broke out on the ship. And the U.S. Navy is now investigating whether sailors aboard the USS Gerald Ford deliberately set fire to their own ship at the end of their deployment. It's a $13 billion aircraft carrier, the most expensive warship ever built, and it's now diverting to Crete for refueling and repairs after a March 12th fire damaged sections of the vessel and left more than 600 crew without proper sleeping quarters. The sailors are in open revolt against the war. How else do you read this? First, they were like stuffing things into the toilets and they were making the toilets overflow. Now they're setting fire to their own ship to prevent them from going to war. And add to this the fact that we are out of missiles. We're not out of missiles yet, but we're about a week away. 1-2 weeks tops. And we are apparently moving our missiles from the South China Sea, from Taiwan, and we're moving that over to the Middle East, which is clearing the way for China. So this goes back to that post from Died Suddenly we talked about. That's happening. That's true. That's definitely happening. And man, we are in a tough spot. There is basically no way that we're going to get out of this unscathed at home. It's just unbelievable. And of course, as all of this is happening, the Israelis have moved to close the Church of the Holy Sepulchre indefinitely for the first time in the history of Christianity. Holy Week and Easter services will be prohibited. Sunday masses and liturgies canceled. A church that should be packed with hundreds of thousands of people coming in the coming few weeks will be forcibly shut and silenced. Now, of course, the Israelis are going to be able to do whatever they want. The Jews are going to be able to have their Passover services, their Passover Seders. That's all fine. That's all going ahead as planned. But Christians in Israel are not going to be allowed to celebrate Easter. Hello? Doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that tell you something about these people and about the battle that we're in, the spiritual nature of this war? It's just unbelievable. And we've got more about that when we talk about what's going on locally. Yeah, here's another post about how the Zionist government is closing the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I think the Orthodox have that church, by the way. Big shout out to anybody that's Orthodox that's still watching this show. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the Orthodox. So what else do we have? So there was another interesting clip that I wanted to play for you. This comes from Piers Morgan. And basically, here's the deal. When they say that MAGA supports the war in Iran, 100%, every MAGA Republican supports the war in Iran. Well, that's because Donald Trump has systematically alienated people that are America first from MAGA. MAGA is no longer MAGA, and it hasn't been MAGA for a long time. It's MEGA. It's Make Israel Great Again. And I know you're probably starting to get a little sick of me talking about Carrie Prejean Bowler, but she is the tip of the spear right now. We don't choose these people. She came out of, where she came out of and is doing the Lord's work, working on getting an interview with her as well. Gareth Gore. We're moving up. We're escalating the caliber of guests on this show. We'll see what happens. But here's what she had to say on Piers Morgan yesterday or 2 days ago.
I've been a loyal supporter of the president for almost 20 years. This goes back to when I was 21 years old and I was Miss California at the Miss USA pageant. And I've known him. I consider him a dear friend. And I will tell you right now, I do not recognize our president. I think that we are an occupied nation. I think that a foreign country has occupied our government. And we are seeing now that this president of the United States of America is being influenced by a foreign government. And MAGA, let me tell you right now, MAGA is dead. It is deader than dead, and Americans are furious. We do not recognize President Donald J. Trump anymore.
Based? Dude, this woman has the makings of a St. Joan of Arc. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's some people that are escalating things to the dicastery of the doctrine of the faith, the DDF, in the Vatican about whether or not Catholics can be Zionists, because she has hit the nail on the head, and God bless her. And there's a big thing going on too, tomorrow, isn't it? Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Catholics for Catholics. Don't know if you've been following them. They're a great follow on X if you happen to be Catholic, I guess. If you're not, then just ignore this. But they've got a big event going on tomorrow in Washington, D.C. Joe Kent speaking there. Carrie Prejean Bowler speaking there. General Mike Flynn. Isn't this an interesting lineup? Isn't this interesting to see the people that are coming together? Eduardo Vestucci, the actor. Big deal. That's a big deal. Candace Owens, of course. Maybe the elephant in the room. But man, and it stinks. I'm really a little pissed about my trip to New York that I took last week, because I had a deal set up with Catholics for Catholics. We was going to promote this event. They were going to fly me out. I was going to go to the whole thing. I can't fit it in the schedule. So I can't do it. I'm sorry, guys. Next time, this was a little last minute. But you can still register at c4c.com if you're in the DC area. They've got a big prayer vigil going on. Cardinal Mueller will be there. General Mike Flynn will be there. And it's interesting too. I talk with General Flynn. I have one of his challenge coins in my office. I talked with him 2 years ago in Las Vegas about Israel and Mossad and all of this. And he seemed to get it, but he didn't know, obviously he didn't know who I was. So like, he's not going to give me like his real feelings on the thing, but we'll see. You know, Mike Flynn has done a lot of work with the Israelis. Maybe things are changing. One can only hope. One can only hope. But that was an interesting little clip from Carrie Prejean. Somebody, was it Firmament? Firmament in the chat said MAGA has rebranded as FAGA, fighting anti-Semites globally always. Dude, that's funny. That's great. But it's, you know, this whole thing is just crazy. There was an article that came out in The Guardian. One diplomat with knowledge of the talks being had between the United States and Iran said, quote, "We regarded Witkoff and Kushner as Israeli assets that dragged a president into a war that he wants to get out of." Now, there's a little bit of cope there. This is the cope part, that he wants to get out of it. I don't think so. They've been gassing Trump up as like, you're the next fucking, what was it, Samson or Simon of whatever? Who was the guy that they always compare him to? The one that rebuilt the temple, the second temple. Cyrus the Great. They keep telling Donald Trump, you're like Cyrus the Great. You're the best. They give him like these awards. They gave him a crown a couple of years ago. It's crazy, man. It's just nuts. Trump doesn't want to get out of this war. That's cope. But whether or not Witkoff and Kushner dragged us into war, you bet your ass. You bet your ass. That's exactly what happened. We played the clip on this show a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago, of Marco Rubio saying that it was Israel that dragged us into the war. Well, yeah, that's true. Can't believe that they said something true. Oh, what? There's just so much bullshit. Look at this. There was this clip that I saw of Donald Trump sitting next to Susie Wiles, who has breast cancer. Oh, sorry to hear that. She ran Bibi Netanyahu's campaign, by the way. But anyway, Donald Trump comes out with this press statement yesterday, a little press conference, saying, I predicted all of this. I predicted that they would close the Strait of Hormuz. And it's like, okay, well, if you predicted it, why didn't you fucking do anything? Why didn't you, take some sort of precaution against this happening? Here's the clip. Just watch.
Just like I knew about the Strait, that it would be a weapon, which I predicted a long time ago, predicted all of this stuff. You guys were very generous in that. I predicted all of it. I predicted Osama bin Laden would knock out the World Trade Center. I made that prediction a year before he did it. I said, you better get him. He's a bad guy. I watched him be interviewed one time, and I said, that's a bad guy. You better get him. 1 year before, exactly. I wrote it in a book. You can even check. About a year before the World Trade Center came down, President Clinton actually had a shot at him, and he didn't take it. Unfortunately, I'm not blaming him for that, but he didn't take it. And he ended up knocking down the World Trade Center, but I predicted that too. I predicted a lot of things.
Okay, time out. Osama bin Laden he didn't knock down the trade centers, okay? We all know this. It's 2026, okay? Ted Kaczynski was bombing people on the Epstein list. Do we need to go through this? Do we need to pretend? I'm not pretending. Fuck that. Anyway, it's amazing. It's just amazing to hear him ramble. I predicted they would close the Straits of Hormuz. And the stuff coming from Trump, like I said, when I say it's all lies, man, it's very difficult to emphasize how much of what is coming out of his mouth is just total bullshit. And here's one of those things, and it's very obvious. Do you remember I don't know, 3 weeks ago, like 4 weeks ago, when Donald Trump and Mark Levin and all of these people were coming out and they're saying, the great people of Iran, they're great, but they've got these awful leaders. We've got to get rid of the leaders and then we'll give the country back to the people. Do you remember this? And then now here we are. Yesterday, Donald Trump comes out and says that all of the people in Iran are worse than Hitler. They're the worst people, dating all the way back to Hitler. Take a look.
With Iran. And they all acknowledge that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. You yourself say, these are horrendous people. These are the worst people. And going back to Hitler, right? Going back to Hitler. These are the worst people. That's a long time ago. And there's been nothing close. Every problem, so many deaths, 90% of the people that got blown up by landmines, they loved them. Soleimani, we killed him. If we didn't, it might be a different story because he was a horrible person, but he was a very powerful.
All right. Anyway, you get the idea. And by the way, all of this stuff with Soleimani, I was watching, like I said, before I went live, I was watching the interview between Tucker Carlson and Joe Kent. And Joe Kent said that we needed to kill Qasem Soleimani. And I just disagree with that. I don't think so. Qasem Soleimani was like the number one fighter of ISIS. He was the number one enemy of ISIS. And in case you aren't aware, ISIS is like a joint CIA Mossad operation. ISIS has never attacked Israel. ISIS, not only have they never attacked Israel, the one time that they did, they apologized for it. Do you remember that? And then when they were fighting in Syria, the Israelis gave them medical care. Do you remember that? I remember that. The internet remembers that. Go Google it. It's out there. So we needed to kill Qasem Soleimani. Why? Because he was fighting ISIS, which is America. ISIS was Israel. Joint America-Israel thing. Anyway, they're the worst people going back to Hitler. Literally like 4 weeks ago, you were saying, Trump was saying that they're oppressed. Now they're saying, no. They're literally the worst people since Hitler. Well, okay. Great. We don't need to talk. So they smeared Kent. Yeah. Okay. What else do we have? As far as, I think we may have exhausted all of the stuff that we have about the war in Iran. It's not good. There's basically no way out at this point. And I think you should be getting prepared because of this. Because of the ground deployments, because of the fact that, oh, and by the way, has anybody, now, again, I don't want to share disinformation or anything like that, but some of my people have been telling me that there are over 100 members of Delta Force that were captured by the Iranian government. Have you heard about that? I haven't seen any reporting on it from the mainstream media. I've seen basically nothing on X about it. The only report that I saw was from George Galloway. Let me see, Delta Force prisoner of war. Let's see if the George Galloway tweet comes up. It probably won't. Yeah, oh, here it is. It got community noted. All right, well, hey, we'll report all of it. It says, George Galloway says the IRGC has 173 American Delta Force soldiers in capture. The community note says the video features George Galloway claiming this based on alleged official statements. However, no credible evidence supports this. U.S. officials deny any such captures. Circulating images are AI generated. Well, let's just... Credible report. Oh, my God. Let's just see. I'll play it. Take it with a salt shaker worth of salt. Let's see.
It's now confirmed also, according to credible reports and official statements by the Iranian government, that 173 members, officers and men of the famed Delta Force are in their hands as captured prisoners of war, and others were killed. What apparently happened was that the United States attempted a military landing, which went disastrously wrong, was ambushed by a superior force of IRGC fighters who killed and took 173 people prisoner. That's quite a haul of prisoners.
God knows. God knows what the truth is at this point. All of these claims, whether it's the stuff from Died Suddenly, whether it's this thing from George Galloway, give it like a week or two and we'll find out the truth. All of these influencers that are online, some of them are going to have connections to the deep state, whatever you want to call it, to the intelligence apparatus. Others are just like peddling AI slop for engagement. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. It's just crazy. And so with that, I'm going to do a brief little commercial. Like I said, you need to be prepared, and ODGG Supply is your way to be prepared. Go to odggsupply.com, use promo code Backlash14, and you will get 14% off select things in their store. A lot of things. Not everything, but a lot of things. And I believe they've got fuck bins. It's possible. Who's calling me? Bro. Who? Hello?
Hi, this is U.S. Congressman Russ Fulcher. I'm calling to invite you. Please just stay on the line, and you will be automatically connected.
Oh, I forgot about that. There's a town hall right now with Russ Fulcher. Man, if I didn't have more shit to do, I would stay on the line because they allow you to ask questions, and he'll respond to them. Man, what a bummer. I wanted to ask him about the war in Iran, but I'm sorry. I'm busy right now. I'm doing a live stream, Russ. Hello, don't you know my schedule? Can you please reschedule your press conference to a time when I'm not on the air? Thank you. Anyway, where was I? ODGGsupply.com. Get prepped. They've got medical, they've got apparel, they've got camo, they've got everything that you need to build the best bug out bag ever. Check their ape approved gear. They've got sunglasses and blankets, and they've got all kinds of ponchos and gun lube. You don't want to shoot your gun without some lube. Believe me, I've tried. It's not that good. Gets a little sticky. So, anyway, visit ODGG Supply. Use promo code Backlash14. And as it stands right now, I think I'm going to be taking a trip out to Seattle next week to go see the guys at ODGG Supply and make some content with them. By the way, they've got a fantastic live show that they do, ODGG Supply on YouTube. Boom. Why do I come up? I search ODGG Supply, and the first thing that comes up is this program. That's great. Great. But PNW Gorilla, he did a great live stream last evening. I don't have any clips pulled from it, but if you live in the state of Washington and you need to get some information on what's going on, he went over some of the legislation that they're doing in Washington state, and it is asinine, crazy. They just made it basically legal to, if you've got a kid in school in Washington, in a public school in Washington, they've made it so that their kid can be transitioned without the parent's consent. They passed another law making it legal for a minor to get an abortion without the parent's consent, even while they're living at home. They're making it illegal to own 30-round magazines. They've made it illegal to purchase new ARs. They've instituted a wealth tax for people earning over a certain amount of money in the state of Washington. So listen, if you live in the state of Washington, it might not be the worst idea to get a home in Idaho to bug out to just in case. I'm just saying. You're welcome in Idaho, especially if you're white and right-wing. We need more of you here in Idaho. And I'm working, see, this is one of those things that like I've got like all of these ideas for content and I'm working on ways to do it. But like, I feel like it would be fun to make like a series of like real estate videos. And since I'm not a real estate agent, I can't be charged with anything because of course, discriminatory housing, right? But you know, I'm thinking maybe I'll make some like real estate commercials about why white people should move to Idaho. And then since I'm not associated with any realtors, I can just do that. And then you can find a realtor and they'll sell you a house. But the point is to make racist commercials for why you should live in Idaho. We're 90% white. We've got very good things going on in Idaho, very good legislation this session. We'll talk more about that. The war at home, right? But anyway, long story short, go follow ODGG Supply at PNW Gorilla on YouTube. They've got great content. Going to be doing some collabs coming up. Big shout out. Use their promo code. It helps everybody. And yeah. What else? The war at home. Oh my God. Can I play something for you that's just like totally unrelated? Okay. Somebody posted this, somebody retweeted this video, and it's just amazing. This is from Canada. Look at this.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Of course, I'm going to invite you to a potluck with triangle sandwiches.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Of course, you're going to see me at the protest.
Bro, demons exist. Demons are real, and you're looking at one right now. And it's a minister in the United Church of Canada.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Obviously, I'm going to call you a beloved child of God if you were ever to come out to me.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Of course, I'm going to tell you you have a place at the table.
Bro. We need camps. We need camps. We need to send these people to camps. Oh, the war at home. The war at home. Okay, well, the war at home has a couple of different angles to it, okay? So stick with me. Number one, there's a war on white people in this country. In case you haven't been aware, white people are free game. You're allowed to criticize, demonize, attack, deplatform, fire, whatever, anybody that's white, because white people are oppressors, according to the left. And this has been going on in this country for a very long time. A war on white people, people of European descent, Christians. And there is a big announcement this week. Got to give a big shout out to C.J. Engel, who is now the president of a new advocacy group. It is called the White Civil Advocacy Project. They are a 501c4 political advocacy group. And he says here, a couple weeks ago, I published a list of civil advocacy organizations dedicated to the representation of different groups: blacks, Jews, Muslims, Indians, Latinos, and whites. The funny or disturbing thing that I was pointing out is that there was none for whites. Zero. There are no groups dedicated to the voicing of interests of whites. This doesn't make sense if you believe in things like civil rights law, corporate non-discrimination initiatives, and higher education diversity drives that are all about equality and colorblindness. This does make sense, however, if you know what's actually happening in the West, the dispossession of white people from their native lands. But I want to change that. The question is, are we allowed to advance our own rights, our own well-being, and apply ourselves all the legion of legal precedents and civil doctrines that have for decades only served those outside of the historic American ethnic core. Well, why not? To this end, I have joined as executive director in a new organization which has recently been approved as a 501c4 civil advocacy group. It's called the White Civil Advocacy Project. We are currently working to develop a team of volunteers, donors, and action items that we will roll out over the next few weeks and months. You'll hear more from me on this soon, but in the meantime, please like the X account below and see the vision document that we have assembled to give a taste of what is to come. So please make sure you are following C.J. Engel on X at Contra Mordor. Okay, and the new group is the WCA Project, WCAproject.com. This is a very interesting thing. You know, this was, I remember back in the day, back in 2016, let's see, there's also their X account, WCA Project. Go smash the follow button for them. But, you know, I remember back in 2016 when I was getting involved in the movement, whatever that means. And, you know, it's like, why don't we have a NAACP for white people? That was like the whole thing, you know, and then it got turned into, you hate black people, you hate brown people. No, we don't. I want to advocate for my people. What's wrong with that? Everyone else does this. There's a Black American caucus, a Native American caucus, a Hispanic American caucus. You know, there's all kinds of these civil rights groups everywhere. Where's there something for white people? Nothing. So anyway, the White Civil Advocacy Project, new thing, very cool. Go follow them. Very based. Support them. And the best part about it is that not only are they a PAC, they're a political, well, they're not a PAC. They're a 501c4 action organization. So they can do things like ask your senator so-and-so why he hates white people, right? They can send out ads like that. They can also lobby private corporations that have diversity initiatives, affirmative action. They can say, why are you firing your white employees? Why are you doing that? And so they'll be able to bring a little bit of pressure to bear, hopefully, on not only corporate America, but also political America. So White Civil Advocacy Project, love to see stuff like this happening. Great way to fight back. That's WCAproject.com. Check them out. But one of the other things that you can do, and this is a big announcement, one of the other things you can do, if you don't like the direction of the country, if you don't like the way things are going, if you don't like seeing inflation, government spending unchecked, if you don't like seeing your local Republican Central Committee passing one after another resolution on supporting Israel, if you're upset that it seems like you've been forgotten, well, something you can do is run for office. And one of the most important offices, one of the most overlooked offices, is the office of Precinct Committeeman. Now, I did an episode on this a little while ago. If you go back on the YouTube channel, there's a playlist called Dave After Dark. You can find some of the first episodes that I did of that, talking about this. And the Precinct Committeeman in the Republican Party. Okay, so here's how this works. You live in a precinct. No matter where you live in America, you live in a precinct. It's a geographic area that is bounded by population. Okay? There are many precincts that make up a county. Okay? Counties make up the state. States make up the nation. So at the precinct level, there is somebody where you live that is supposed to be representing your interests in the Republican Party. There is supposed to be somebody that is out there listening to what you have to say about where we are as a country, where we are as a county, where we are as a state, right? They're supposed to take your concerns and relay them to the Republican Party so that the Republican Party can create platforms They can create initiatives, legislation, and advocate for your interests over corporate interests. That's how this is supposed to work, okay? And so the precinct committeemen from your county, they go together and they make up the county central committee. The county central committee is what votes on resolutions. They vote on who to endorse in your primaries. They have a huge say in how politics goes in your state. Now, in Idaho, where I live, it's even more important because we are a supermajority Republican state. Like 70% of this state is Republican, maybe 65%. 65-70% of the state is Republican. If you want to get any kind of legislation passed, you've got to do it through the Republican Party, period. That's how it works. You know, in a purple state, in a blue state, different story. Then you're talking about the Democrat Party. But in a supermajority red state, you need control of the Republican Party. And in the state of Idaho, just in my county, there are 70 precinct committeemen. So in order to control the Republican Party, you would need, 36, 38 people that are of like mind to be able to function. And so anyway, long story short, I threw my hat in the ring. I'm running for precinct committeeman here in Kootenai County, Idaho. We'll see how it goes. I have an honorable opponent, Todd Banducci, who I love and support very much. But he goes to Candlelight Christian Church. He goes to Israel once a year. He supports the war in Iran. And I don't think a lot of my neighbors like that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen. But yes, I did file. And so where is my name? Where's my name? There I am. David J. Riley. Boom. There it is. There is the filing. Who's Lee Wallace? Wait, who is this guy? Oh, he's a Democrat. Okay, I was going to say, wait a minute. We have 3 people running in this race? No. Okay. He's a demon rat. We've got to kick this guy out of the precinct, man. You're not allowed to live here. I don't want you as my neighbor. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But the reason why I filed, many reasons, a lot of different reasons. But the reason, where is it? It's not popping up. Oh, it's probably because it reset. Damn it. But look at this. 206 people filed in my county alone. 2,500 people across the entire state of Idaho have filed to run for these seats. And so one of the people, by the way, that filed to run is our friends from Candlelight. Aaron Bernard, Stephanie Fetzer, right? These are people that have been demonizing me for 5 years, attacking me for 5 years, attacking Catholics for 5 years, saying things like, if you go back and you watch the show that we did on Monday, that Catholics should not be allowed to hold office in the United States of America because we're integralists, right? That's the new buzzword that they're using. Oh, he's an integralist, right? And there's a tweet here from the red-headed libertarian. Catholic integralism is the idea that mixing church with state for moral rights like banning abortion and pursuing peace are acceptable. Ted Cruz, who endorses using the state to carry out a holy war that ushers in the Antichrist, needs you to know that Catholics are evil. And of course, here's Senator Ted Cruz, who recently came out. He was retweeting Insurrection Barbie, a felon. She's a felon. And likely an Israeli asset. Retweeting this AI slop article. I discussed this with Joe Enders on Monday. Go watch that show if you haven't already. He was a great guest, by the way. Going to bring him back. But, there's a war on Catholics in this country, and it's being led by evangelical Protestants. And so people have got to step up. You've got to step up. Whether you're Catholic, whether you're Orthodox, maybe you're Presbyterian, doesn't matter. If you don't think that we should be engaging in this war, if you don't think that we should be bombing little girls in Iran, then maybe it's time to step up. I said it's the duty of every Catholic in the world to say no to Zionism and their immoral wars. This was very popular on Twitter, 1.4 thousand likes. Very good. Got rate limited there, clearly. But, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. We've got to make sure that the people on these positions for central committeemen, that they care about what happens locally more than what happens internationally. That's the line. That's the line in the sand, okay? If you can put aside your goofy, fucked up, heretical, bizarro world, antichrist, end times theology, if you can put that aside and do what's in the best interests of the people that live next to you, well then, okay, fine. You can be on the Central Committee. That's acceptable. But if you are attempting to hijack the Republican Party, if you're attempting to hijack the local Central Committee in service of your goofy end times Jewish death cult known as Christian Zionism, you should not, in fact, be allowed to run for this Central Committee position. And God willing, they won't win either. Because if you think that 5 resolutions in 2 years supporting Israel, if you think that is like a little ridiculous, just wait till they take over the local Republican Party, because you'll get one a month. You will get a rubber-stamped, we support the war in Iran every single month. It's just unbelievable. Sorry, my wife texted me. So anyway, precinct committeeman is one of the most important positions that you need to be thinking about running for. And you need to be thinking about running for it in 2028. Why? Because, well, the filing period is already over. That's done. You can't do that this year. But you can in 2028. And all that it takes is that you get to know your neighbors, that you know the people that live around you. You can go and knock on their door and say, hello, I'm your neighbor from over there. Are you happy with the war in Iran? Do you like paying $4 a gallon for gas? Oh, okay. Well, if you don't like those things, if you don't like seeing our sons and daughters coming back in body bags, if you don't like paying $4, $5, maybe $6 a gallon of gas, well, then maybe you shouldn't vote for a Zionist to be on the Central Committee. Maybe you should vote for a traditional Christian that wants to put America first. It's a very simple proposition. But if we are ever going to have any kind of substantial change in this country with a two-party system, it's either A, going to come about through some sort of complete societal collapse, economic, political collapse. That's option A. Option B is the option of an insurgency, a civil war, a revolution within the Republican Party in an effort to put our interests first, in an effort to prevent us from going to war. That's what needs to happen. And so, with all of that being said, I do have an endorsement to make in the races for precinct committeemen. Oh, come on. Really? You're not going to pop up for me? Oh, yeah, here it is. Here, by the way. Stephanie Fetzer. You remember, if you've been watching the show, you'll remember that Stephanie Fetzer is the woman who orchestrated the whole getting the cops called on us thing. You remember we did a thing where we were going to go out, we were going to get tacos, and this was in October. We were going to get tacos, and we were going to grill a candidate for Coeur d'Alene mayor, who is now in, pro-gay, Dan Gukin. And she called the police. Well, I don't know if she called the police, but one of her people called the police and tried to get us all arrested. So that is Stephanie Fetzer. She is running for this seat. And who else? Who else is running for this seat? Let's see what we got here. Yes, here we go. I have an endorsement to make, and that is for precinct number 307, Nina Beasley. If you live in Kootenai County, and if you happen to live in precinct 307, you need to be voting for Nina Beasley, okay? Nina is a close friend of mine. She used to call me all the time. She would go to the KCRCC Central Committee meetings, and she would get so upset about the resolutions for Israel. She would be so upset about the people that are advocating on behalf. I think she's got a Twitter account, by the way. I think this might be her Twitter account. Beasley Nina, not sure, just saying. But so she used to call me on the phone, and she'd be like, Dave, they're trying to pass another Israel resolution. Give me arguments. Send me a PDF. Can you work something up to help me combat these resolutions? And I'm like, yeah, sure, Nina, no problem. And then, oh man, in 2024, there was an attempt to change the Idaho GOP party platform to include a sentence about supporting Israel, meaning that in order to be a Republican, you must support Israel, and as a legislator, you must legislate for Israel's interests to be considered a Republican. This was a change to the party platform that was proposed, like I said, at the state Central Committee meeting in 2024. I happened to be a delegate at that meeting. I was also a delegate in 2022, which is why I'm qualified to run for precinct committeeman, by the way. I actually amended the Idaho Republican Party platform in 2022, specifically the paragraph about parents having the right to educate and raise their children. And so Nina found out about this amendment to the platform. And thank God, because with Nina Beasley's help, we were able to defeat that part of the party platform from being added to the Republican Party. Couldn't have done it without Nina. So she used to babysit my children. We used to have her here in this house. She'd come over, stay while my wife and I would go out on a date. She'd watch the kids, and then she'd ask all kinds of questions about the Jews. She borrowed my copy of The Jewish Revolutionary Spirit by E. Michael Jones and The Culture of Critique, I believe, from Kevin McDonald. So she's very well aware of all of the issues when it comes to the Jews and Israel. Nina Beasley knows that the Jews are an existential threat to the American way of life. And there is nobody else that I would endorse for this seat more than Nina Beasley. So please vote for her. She will prevent the Jews from sending your children to war to die for Israel. Vote for Nina Beasley in Precinct 307. Was it 307? 307. Yes, correct. So there's my endorsements for all of the other. Like I said, there's over 206 people running for this office in my county. There are only 70 seats to be filled. So this is going to be some sort of a knockdown, drag-out fight. Unbelievable. Look at this. Deborah, what are you doing? You got to capitalize the first letter of your name, Deborah. It's a capital D and a capital B. These people. Anyway. So we'll have more updates on the race for precinct committeemen and how that whole thing goes. But, you know, the evangelical Protestants, they wanted a war. They wanted a war. Doug Wilson came out and said that they were going to ban Catholic processions. They were going to ban Mary in the public square. They're going to ban the Eucharist or a Eucharistic procession. The people at Candlelight Church, like I showed you on the show a couple days ago, I'll pull it up again. I'll be redundant. I will harp on this forever. We've got people like William Lee, who's friends with Stephanie Fetzer and Aaron Bernard and all of the Zionists at Candlelight Church, saying things like, quote, Roman Catholics never have and never will support any kind of republic. While I like a lot of Roman Catholics who aren't poisoned by integralist ideas, they cannot be a meaningful part of the leadership of any truly free constitutional republic. Like, okay, by the way, have you ever heard of Garcia Moreno? Because Gabriel Garcia Moreno is literally the very first president of the first Catholic republic ever, okay? So the idea that Catholics can't participate in a republic is bullshit. But these people aren't very smart. Christian Zionists, that is, they are not smart. They do not understand the difference between analogy, allegory, literalism. You see, that's why they take the Bible literally. Like every line of the Bible has to be literal. And it's like, you know, maybe a balanced position on this might be that some things in the Bible are literal and other things are allegorical. Things like, I don't know, not to get too off on a tangent, but John 6. Okay? He literally says, if you don't eat my flesh and drink my blood, there's no life in you. And then everyone left. And he turns to the disciples, the apostles, and he says, will you leave me too? And they said, Master, this teaching is hard. Because he was literally saying that you have to eat his flesh and drink his blood. The Eucharist, communion, the holy sacrifice of the Mass. That's like John 6. That's what it's all about. But they take that part as a kind of allegory. They take that as, well, it was symbolic. But then when it talks about, like, you know, the end of the world and all of this shit, they take it all very seriously. Anyway, you need to get involved. You need to know who your local representatives are. You need to know who your precinct committeeman is. You need to know who your city councilors are. Who's your mayor? Who is your state senator? These are all things that we need to understand because, you know, there are people out there that are saying that the world is coming to an end, that in 2 weeks, the United States economy is going to collapse. That it's all over and this is the end. This is the end of Israeli power in the United States. This is the end of the dollar. This is the end of this and the end of that. And it's apocalyptic and it's crazy. And it's like, dude, go to the gym. Go to the store. People are living their lives completely oblivious to the situation that we're in. There's not going to be a collapse. And if it does happen, it's going to be slow. I mean, hey, I'd love to be wrong about this. I probably am not. But the point is, you need to be continually building for the thing that's happening in 10 years, the thing that's going to be happening in 20 years, okay? We are not getting out of this situation of an occupied America, which has been occupied for 50, 60, 70 years, we're not going to get out of this situation overnight. We are not getting out of this situation by voting for president, period. That's not how this is going to work. The best chance that we have is subsidiarity and localism. The best chance that we have is electing people locally that understand the issues, that are able to put local issues first and prioritize those issues over the issues that are happening in the Middle East, Ukraine, Russia. Fuck all that. It doesn't matter. There's a guy down the street who is a teacher at my kid's school and he wants to cut his dick off. Okay? That's what matters. And so we need to do what we can at the local level to shore that up. If there is a federal level collapse of the government, then at least you know that you have a local government that has your best interests at heart. And if you live in a place where it's impossible to do something like that, I would seriously recommend considering moving to a place like North Idaho or elsewhere where there's at least a shot. There's at least a shot that the good guys can win. And by the good guys, I mean the people like me who are opposed to bombing little schoolgirls in Iran. People that are opposed to blowing up children in Gaza. Okay? Because that's what they want. They want total war on Amalek. These Christian Zionists. They have no clue what they're doing. Anyway, I'm bitching. I know I'm bitching. Local politics is so important. Oh, and that brings me to the last thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. Thank you. We're bringing the plane in. We're landing it on the landing strip. The big thing I wanted to talk about tonight, in addition to all the other big things that we've been talking about, of course, is the situation in the Idaho Senate, in the Idaho legislature. There are almost a dozen bills dealing with illegal immigration that are being held up right now by Senator Jim Guthrie, who has taken this legislation and thrown it in a drawer. The legislation would make sure that local police departments and local sheriff's departments publish the citizenship status of the people they arrest. So they arrest somebody, they're an illegal. We're going to tell the public that we arrested an illegal alien. That's one piece of legislation. Another piece of legislation would automatically opt in all of the sheriff's departments in Idaho to collaborate in the DHS 287G program, which essentially means that if the sheriff arrests an illegal alien, that they can house them on behalf of the Department of Homeland Security, on behalf of ICE, and then transmit that illegal alien prisoner to ICE for deportation. This seems like common sense, but the Idaho Dairy PAC, Idaho Agriculture, all of the IACI affiliated businesses, these are the Idaho Association of Commerce and Industry, they rely on slave labor. They rely on illegal immigrant labor. They don't want these bills to get passed. And so they are doing everything in their power to buy off our politicians here in Idaho to prevent these from getting a hearing. Even though the Republican Party, they want a hearing. Watchdog groups want a hearing. The people of Idaho want a hearing. Over 80% of Idahoans want structural immigration reform. And Jim Guthrie and other people like, was it Senator Shippey? Mr. Abolish human abortion, but I'm okay with slavery? Really? You're not going to vote for this stuff? You're not going to give this stuff a hearing? Well, we got a little update here from my friend Lauren Walker, who one of these days we're going to get on the show. But take a listen to what she's saying. It's very important, especially if you live in Idaho, to hear about this.
America, I'm coming to you from the state of Idaho. I need you to heed my warning. This is a supermajority Republican state, and we have 7 illegals bills that we cannot get through the state house. 1 week left of session, and we cannot get any of these illegals bills through. Last year, they all died in the House. This year, some made it through the House and are dying in the Senate. We have chairs that will hold these bills, and they will never see the floor. No one will ever hear these bills. No one will ever vote on them. We have legislators, Republicans, that are voting against these the entire way through. Republicans, these are Republicans. We're a supermajority Republican. We have a red MAGA governor endorsed by Trump. Could totally grease this stuff, won't do it. Not in his interest. He won't do it. His donors won't like that. We've got a red House and Senate, and they're killing our bills. What else do we have? We have a red elected sheriffs. We have red elected law enforcement in the state showing up to the Capitol every single day to lobby against our illegals bills. Every single day. They're showing up to lobby. Say they don't have time to partner with ICE. They said they can't do those agreements, but they have time to show up and lobby every day against our illegals bills. These bills are not even, some of them are stats. We just want numbers. We just need to know. The one that we had for schools, how many illegals in our schools dead. The one, how many illegals are getting Medicaid, or how many patient statistics. Just an aggregate number. We just need a total number so we can get some money numbers. That one can't get a hearing. Arrest stats. We had the LEO come and testify against getting arrest stats. Did you know that your law enforcement does not check immigration status on people they arrested? Said it out loud. Literally do not know who they're arresting. They don't even know who they have in their custody. Fought against that bill. It's very frustrating and it's sad, because if we fall, you fall. We are your tea leaves. Heed our warning. If we don't get this message out, if people don't know what is happening in a supermajority conservative state, I mean, we have a legislator who told us that Biden let them all in, so we should just make way. We have another legislator who hired one on her farm, got popped choking his wife and meth in his wallet, got arrested. She rehired him. I showed up, detained her, deported the guy. She's a sitting legislator. She's out there championing abortion and transgender stuff right now. Republican. I'm telling you guys, if we fall, you fall. The nation will be cooked. So please get the message out. Someone's got to know what's going on here.
Yeah, amen. And thank you for Lauren. She's been keeping a hawk eye on the Idaho legislature. It's so important in your states where you live. It is so, I mean, I guess it's important if you live in a state where you have some sort of majority where you could actually get something passed. I guess if you live in a blue state, you're pretty much fucked, like Washington State, but you got to watch these people like a hawk. It sucks. It sucks. Like, we all want to just vote for the right guy and then tune the fuck out and go do whatever we want to do, spend time with our families and all that. But unfortunately, we live in a shithole country that has been filled with illegal immigrants, 40, 50 million illegal immigrants that are taking our money. They are living on the dole. They are taking welfare checks. They are getting all kinds of aid. In certain states, they're getting 0% loans to buy houses, while the American people are dying of drug overdoses. My blood pressure. Woo-hoo-hoo! I shouldn't crash out, man. I gotta keep it light, or else, like, I'm gonna go to the hospital. You need to be watching your legislators like a hawk. And if you haven't already, and if you live in the state of Idaho, fuck it. Even if you don't live in the state of Idaho, call our legislators and tell them to hear these bills. It is so important. There's a great website that you can go to. Highly recommend, IdahoImmigrationWatch.org. They've got all kinds of facts. There are 62,000 illegal immigrants in Idaho. They cost Idaho families $405 million annually. Over 10,000 illegals work in Idaho agriculture, and 7,500 illegals work in dairy. In 2025, there was a 797% increase in illegal alien detentions in the state of Idaho. Idaho is also the third highest per capita rate in the country for refugee resettlement. 17,000 refugees live here in the state of Idaho, with over $1 million spent on refugee medical assistance. There are 9,719 H-1B visas in Idaho. Thank you, Micron. Thank you, Micron. Hope your stock price is doing well. I saw it was over $400 a share. Should have fucking bought it at 97. Oops. Anyway, fuck you, Micron. Anyway, 3,500 H-2B workers. This all drives down wages for Americans. It costs American families. It costs taxpayers. And we've got people, supposedly Republicans, supposedly conservative, pro-life, whatever, down there in the Idaho legislature that are preventing these bills from being heard. So please use all the tools at your availability. One of them being, was it gemstatechronicle.com/email. Oop, that's not it. This is it. gemstatechronicle.com/email. I will put this in the chat for those of you watching. Please go here and email the Senate. What is it? Is it State Affairs? Shit. Yes, it is the Senate State Affairs Committee. District 5. Choose a legislator. Can I hit all? Can I just email all of them? What the fuck? Anyway. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you don't have to choose a specific legislator. I can just hit email selected legislators. This is easy. See, guys, this is super easy. And of course, now it's like not working. Oh, I get it. So then I go, then it makes you a link. You copy the link, and then you take it to your email. Let's go gmail.com. Let's go through this. How do you go through this? Yeah, here we go. Boom. Will this work? Anyway. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Do it on your phones. Email these people. Email these people. Tell them to hear these bills. Oh, and by the way, there was something else. Let's see here. This was from 2025. New statistics have come out. Idaho is once again like the second fastest growing state in the nation. 63%. Is that an increase? Oh, no. Net migration loss per 10,000 inhabitants. So we're plus 63. Got it. Makes sense. People are fleeing from California and New York and Virginia and Kansas, and they're coming to places like Idaho. So anyway, we need help up here. We need people to pay attention and email your legislators. What else? Going to read a couple of commercials, a commercial, and then we will read your super chats. So get them in, get your last minute super chats in. Thank you so much. Ask me anything, no limit, even $1. Send me $1 and I will answer your question. There are no limits here. You don't need to send $10 and up. Send me whatever you got. And we'll talk about it. But first, I want to talk about North Idaho Tallow Company. They make soap and skincare products that make you feel good. They've got nutrients that your skin needs, no harsh chemicals, made out of grass-fed tallow. And honestly, these products look gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. They just finished their rebranding. Please visit idahotallow.com. No promo code. Just buy the shit and use it, man. It's so good, especially if you are concerned about endocrine disruptors, you're concerned about your testosterone, about your, whatever the receptors in your body. Dude, I don't know what this shit is. I need to get a health expert on here, but this stuff is very healthy. It's very good for you. It is soap like your grandmother would have made, as opposed to like soap that your grandmother was turned into. No. Grass-fed tallow. They've got lip balm. They've got candles. They've got face, skin, feet balm. You want to put some balm on your feet? It'll be very good. Silky smooth skin on your feet, no calluses. But please visit idahotallow.com. And of course, our friends at atlasbullion.com/backlash. There is a storm coming financially. And this is one of the things that I also, I meant to talk about. Holy shit, I've been going for 2 hours. I got to get off this stream, dude. One of the things that we've got to deal with this war in Iran is that we are not like vulnerable to a nuclear bomb, okay? We are not vulnerable in this country to a nuclear bomb getting sent to us from Iran. That's not the problem. The problem is that Iran is nuking our economy by closing the Straits of Hormuz. Our big weak spot isn't military. It's not defense. It's not intelligence. The weak spot is the economy. Stupid. And we've been printing money since 1972, 1971, whenever the fuck we went off the gold standard. It's been getting out of control. We are going to default on our debt one way or another, whether it's default through printing or it's default by us just saying, that's not going to happen. We're not paying that back. The point being, this war is going to cost our country dearly, not only in blood, but also money. They've already spent several $billion. Every THAAD missile that's launched is like, $5 million or more? And you don't think that that's going to hit home between inflation, the gas prices, and all of this? Listen, you need to protect yourself. And one of the best ways to do that is by buying gold and silver. And you can do that through our friends at atlasbullion.com/backlash. The link is in the show description below. You can start stacking precious metals on autopilot. Silver subscriptions as low as $55 a month. Gold subscriptions as low as $200 a month. Check them out. If you've been thinking about pulling the trigger, today's a great day to do it. I've been seeing that the price of gold and silver are down. $4,843 an ounce. Best price I've seen in gold in several months. Silver down to $76 an ounce. Platinum, $2,072. And what's crazy is, and this was something I actually talked to Kenzie earlier today, something's going on over in the Middle East, in like Dubai specifically, which was supposed to be this big safe haven. It was supposed to be a place where the rich billionaires of the world could go and they'd be totally fine. They can leave their money. They can, they can live in Dubai in peace. Well, that's not the case. If you haven't seen, real estate in Dubai is down. It's like down 20% or more. They're blowing up hotels. Dignitaries are not coming to Dubai for meetings, okay? And so these people in Dubai, Muslims, a lot of them, they save in gold. But you can't really board a passenger plane with gold, okay? Like there are some billionaires in Dubai that have so much gold and silver that they would need 3 passenger planes empty just hauling gold and silver to be able to evacuate their holdings from that country. So something that may be happening out there, I don't know, I'm not a fortune teller or whatever, but it seems plausible that people are actually selling their gold and silver and buying Bitcoin. And then they're boarding a plane, getting the heck out of Dubai, and then they're going to rebuy back into the gold and silver markets. It's been weird, man. If you've been looking at the markets, you've been seeing the same thing I have. Gold or Bitcoin spiked up to $76,000 an ounce from the lows of about $65,000 an ounce, a coin. Oh my God, I've got to log off. It's been 2 hours. The point is, global instability. If you're not planning on leaving America, you should save in gold and silver. You can also save in Bitcoin too. If you go to thebacklash.net, and you click the affiliate page, you will see all of our affiliates, one of them being River Bitcoin. Okay, if you want to buy Bitcoin, go to River, okay? You get I think if you like actually sign up for an account and like buy like $1,000 of Bitcoin, you'll get a kickback, we'll get a kickback. CoinKite also, one of our proud affiliates. They make the world's most secure Bitcoin wallet, the Cold Card Q. So check them out. If you use our link, we get a kickback, very small, like 1% kickback. But the point being, you need to be prepared. There's crazy shit happening in this country, and the economy's going to be nuts. All right, let's read some super chats and see what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for sticking with us, for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I think it's great. We're going to be having some events here soon as well. Next month, there's going to be a big meetup. So if you haven't already, send an email. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, you can email info@thebacklash.net. Let me know where you are. We'll get a cup of coffee. We'll hang out. I'll do a little vetting, make sure that you're not like a spy, and then we'll bring you in. You can also send mail, snail mail. I do appreciate the snail mail, to P.O. Box 853, Post Falls, Idaho 83877. All of that, of course, is available in the show description below. Today's date is the 18th, and we've got a super chat from IRL Con, who sent $10 on Rumble. When I can't catch the show live, I sometimes leave a tip on Rumble. No availability for comments, but want to make sure you receive tips through Rumble and ask if you have a preference for how you want to ... Listen, if you want, I love Rumble rants. Send money on Rumble rants. Absolutely. I mean, the big thing is that I want to see, I want to see what you guys have to say. So yeah, send Rumble rants, whatever. You can, I mean, if you want to just like send me money, you can do that. You can send like a check or money order to P.O. Box 853, Post Falls, Idaho. We've got a couple people that do that. You can also sign up on the backlash.net. We have a whole page dedicated to donating. If you go to support the show and click donate, you can donate through the website. Of course, it's Stripe, so they take 3%. You can also donate with Bitcoin or crypto or Monero. Like, there's so many ways. Thank you so much for watching, for donating, for keeping the show on the air. I do appreciate it. IRL Con. Reinhardt, 1488, sent $2. He just said, oof. That is exactly how I feel when looking at Donald Trump and what's going on with this administration. Tomahawk sent $5. If Iran starts targeting oil and gas infrastructure, and it looks like they will, things are going to get ugly fast. Prepare accordingly. Totally agree. You're right. And they are planning on hitting way more oil production facilities. It's not good. IRL Con sent another $5. It takes talent to be as comfortable as you are talking to your audience, winging it without prep and still making it informative and entertaining. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I mean, it's not like I'm just doing this. I didn't just wake up one day and decide I'm going to do a live stream. This has been not only years in the making, but also, I used to have a radio show. I used to be on the air 6 hours a night. Think about that. That's crazy. 6 hours a night back in Pennsylvania. And I had like a coach. I had a guy that would listen to my on air. They weren't live streams. They were just me being on the air. And, they would send me notes. Don't talk about this. You say too much, blah, blah, blah. And so, you work on it. It's a skill that can be developed over time. Anyway, let's see here. Overfit, then predict. It's not popping up on the screen. It should be popping up right here, but it's not for some reason. But overfit, then predict with a huge $100 super chat. Thank you, buddy. Does anyone track all of these anti-Catholic and anti-Christian resolutions around the country? His old handle was Playboy Fella. Hey, good luck. No candlelight candidates. Bingo. Amen. I think that there are certain groups like Catholics for Catholics. There's a group that is certainly taking note of everything being said by these evangelicals and the Zionist Christians. They're keeping track. They know what's up. But there really should be some sort of Catholic body that does this, or some organization. Unfortunately, until we get some sort of declaration from the dicastery of the doctrine of the faith, until we get something concrete from the Vatican that proves that Carrie Prejean Bowler me, E. Michael Jones, Tim Gordon, Pine Sap, and Joe, until we get the church to say definitively that, in fact, Catholicism and Zionism are incompatible, this is all a very gray area. Once that statement comes out, once we get a declaration from the DDF, all bets are off. So we'll see what happens. Blackout King 213 send lightning bolts on Rumble. Thank you very much. And dude, oh hell yeah, there we go. Mr. Bing Bong is back with $5. God bless you, Dave. Thanks for keeping the show going. To be honest, I prefer when it's just you ranting. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. My wife does appreciate as well that I have someone to rant to. So thank you for joining us and taking some of the burden off of her so she doesn't just have to hear me pacing through the house screaming at myself. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a great show. It was wonderful being with you. I've got to give another big shout out to Antelope Hill Publishing. They're fighting to keep history alive amidst a regime of anti-white censorship, and they're equipping a new generation of dissidents with the information to fight the anti-white Jewish regime that we live under. They've got a varied catalog that includes newly updated and expanded third edition of Dr. Kevin McDonald's Culture of Critique. And by the way, if you don't own a copy of the Culture of Critique yet, you're literally doing it wrong. I don't care if you're Catholic or Orthodox or Protestant, whatever. It is required reading. You have to read the Culture of Critique. So go to antelopehillpublishing.com and buy a copy. It is Kevin McDonald's greatest work. They also have Dr. Ricardo Duchesne's magnum opus, Greatness and Ruin, the definitive scholarly examination of European exceptionalism, as well as works by Kerry Bolton, Paul Kersey, and Josh Neal. Antelope Hill recently brought David Irving's iconic Nuremberg, The Last Battle back into print, and have numerous translations of historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and Civil War Spain, all previously unavailable in English. There are also plenty of books on contemporary issues such as transgenderism, the opioid crisis, and Christian nationalism, as well as history books, novels, and children's books. So whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published. Sorry, the guy from Amazon just came to the door and it freaked me out for a second. They're all professionally published. They got sleek, modern cover art. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and fight for our cause. Visit antelopehillpublishing.com. If you use promo code Backlash10, you'll get 10% off. And can't forget Above Time Coffee Roasters. They've got premium, small batch, hand-roasted, pro-white, non-kosher coffee. The blonde roast is exceptional. I've been drinking the light New England roast. It's delicious. I'm about to embark on a taste journey through their medium roast blends. I can't wait. It is tasty. It puts a pep in your step. Everything is in stock. The grinder, the French press, the stainless steel refillable K-Cup compatible coffee pod. It's all available at AboveTimeCoffee.com, and using promo code Backlash10 will get you 10% off your next order. Was there something else? Was there anything else? I don't want to leave anything on the table because it's going to be a couple days until I talk to you again. And, I'm probably going to remember. It's like when you go to confession and then, you make a good confession and then you leave the box and then you remember there was that one thing you forgot. It's like, son of a bitch. Anyway, getting a similar vibe here. But yeah, be active, be involved, find out who your neighbors are, get networked locally, rebuild social fabric, go to church, and pray for this country. And, I've been praying, it's Lent. I hope your Lent has been going well too. But I've been recently praying the imprecatory Psalms, the ones that are like, God, arise in your wrath and crush your enemies into dust. Wash your hands in the blood of the guilty. Like the imprecatory Psalms. I've been praying those recently, and I think you should too. Pray your rosary. If you're Catholic, pray your rosary every day, because we're not going to be able to do this without the Holy Mother of God and without Jesus. So thank you for tuning in. Going to have a lot of big collabs coming up. We've got a bunch of big interviews lined up. I'm really looking forward to sharing all of that with you. Thank you. And God bless See you next week. Bye-bye.